Hey, what's up you guys? It's your boy Drew here back again with another video for all you American soccer fans. Well, basically for all you Concacaf soccer fans out there, because in this video we're going to talk about the Concacaf Nations League. And this video is basically just going to be talking about what the heck it actually is, what's the purpose of it, and how can this grow the sport growing globally going forward. So let's talk about it. But before we do, you know I gotta say, guys, if you guys love soccer and you want to see soccer get the respect and growth it deserves here in America or in CONCACAF in general, then hit the subscribe button and be part of the change, okay? So what is the Concacaf Nations League? Like, what is the Nations League in general? Well, if you guys are like me, you guys really didn't know about it, I kind of was like, what is it? I kind of heard about it. I heard about the UEFA Nations League tournament, and I didn't really pay too much attention to it because I was like, I don't really care. I'm focused on the CONCACAF right now. Growing CONCACAF soccer here on this channel. Subscribe. So basically, let me just cover real quick in a nutshell what this tournament really is and why it was created. So basically, and I quote, the Nations League for CONCACAF was created similar to the UEFA Nation League, which the purpose was to, and I quote, add more quality, quantity, and frequency of competitive FIFA international matches. So, and I kind of see why they did it, because a lot of, there was a lot of like nations going against each other, but they were just friendlies. Teams only really face each other in competitive matches if it was like the World Cup. Other than that, you'd face your own confederation, like the CONCACAF would just face CONCACAF teams in competitive matches. UEFA teams only face UEFA teams in competitive matches with like the Euros, and then for us, the CONCACAF would be like Gold Cup. So there wasn't really like a way to like add more competitive matches to that. So now they kind of want to do this thing where they make 3 leagues and they have like 4 groups of teams, or a certain amount of teams in each group within that league, and then there's like a promotion relegation kind of thing going on. So like if you're in League B with those 4 groups and you guys finish the top 4 of those groups, those top 4 teams go to the next league above it. So I'll get to that in a second. So basically the whole point of this Nations League was just to add more competitive matches and more quality and there's more abundance of it, because like I said, there wasn't enough real competitive matches to watch, just to watch and to play for the players. So and especially like with confederations that have like a large amount of nations, even like small nations to compete in stuff like this, that probably will never get a chance to compete in Gold Cups or World Cups or Euros because they're just small nations. This can be a way to open the gates for them. So like CONCACAF, we've got a bunch of teams in here, and some people might not even know it because they're probably just focus on like the main 6 big teams like that we have, like USA, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, Honduras, teams like that. But no one really talks about smaller teams like, let's go down here, like Nicaragua or French Guiana, but the Bahamas, Barbados, like Guatemala, teams like that. Like no one really knows how many teams CONCACAF actually has, and it's a lot of teams, like 41 teams, I believe. And same thing with UEFA, which I think have like 55 or 56 nations playing. So their groups and their leagues are going to have much more teams than we do, but that's fine. It's the same purpose. It's to give those smaller leagues and smaller nations more competitive international matches to play for. So I think that's a good idea. So let's talk about the main reason we're here, and that's because we've got some group stage games to talk about, I believe, because a lot of people were freaking out about what group the USA got. So let's talk about that. Okay, so I forgot. I guess I should explain how the formatting works before I talk about the groups. So basically, in the Nations League, there's going to be 3 leagues: League A, League B, and League C. And within each of those leagues, there's 4 groups. And for us, it's going to be 3 teams in each of those 4 groups. So basically, the top 4 teams who finish in each group, who finish first place in each of those group, they would move on to the next league up. So if they're in League B, those top 4 teams in each group would move on to League A. But in League A, you can't go any further. You're just going to be qualified for the Gold Cup probably. So that's probably what the whole goal is going to be. And then like the top teams will go on to play, the semifinals of this tournament and the final, and then like you find the winner of who wins this tournament. Which like right now this doesn't seem like a real big deal because it hasn't really started. But I'm sure once it gets started, teams and nations and fans will actually take serious in this and actually want to win the Nations League and be promoted or relegated, and avoid all that stuff. So that's basically how it works. 3 leagues, 4 groups in each, 3 teams in each group. So for League A, which is basically the big teams, like the teams who qualified for the World Cup in the hex round, as we call it, the 5th round of World Cup qualifying for CONCACAF Champions League. That's where we get the main 6 teams, and then the rest of the teams are filled in from like the earlier qualifying Nations League qualifying results. So that's just filled up by itself, which it's really complicated to get into, so I'm not going to get into it. What I want to talk about actually is Group A, because Group A, we've got USA, Canada, and Cuba. I'll go through all the groups. We got Group B, we got Mexico, Panama, Bermuda. Group C, we got Honduras, Trinidad, Tobago, and Martinique. And Group D, we got Haiti, Curacao, and Costa Rica. So some pretty tasty groups to look there, but the most tasty one to look at, most interesting and mouthwatering, just like it's going to be good. Obviously, Group A with your boys in it and our next door neighbors, Canada, because it's a rivalry that people have forgotten about. I'm pretty sure, like not as much like for other things, but for soccer, we haven't played each other in a long time, and what we do, we have been really winning and beating Canada almost every time. I think it's like 9 wins and 6 draws lately. So we're undefeated right now. The last time Canada beat us was like back in 1985 or something like that, and that's a long time ago. But they're in their rebuilding process as well as we are, so it's gonna be a really, really interesting match to watch, because I'm really excited to see how this new Canada team squares up to this new USA team. And it's gonna be 2 legs, 1 away, 1 home. And basically, Canada's going to want to at least get a result in each of those games, even if it's a draw, because they're going to want to beat Cuba both times. Because if they finish last, they'll be at the bottom of that group, and then the 4 bottom group teams will go down to League B. So then Canada will be relegated to League B, and they'll have to work their way back up to be considered back in League A, and then probably be considered even for Gold Cup. Because what it looks like is this whole Nations League thing is going to be a way to qualify for the Gold Cup easier. Like it's a more competitive way almost to qualify for the Gold Cup, and for the UEFA Nations League, it's another way to qualify probably for the Euros. And then UEFA, FIFA's talking about making it be able to qualify for World Cup in the future, but we don't got to talk about that. We're going to focus on Concacaf, because now Concacaf Gold Cup has been expanded to just from 12 to 16 teams, I believe. So there's more room for teams to be playing. So I'm sure a lot of these teams here are going to be wanting to move up in the ranks in their leagues to be able to get to the Gold Cup. So that's going to be cool. That's going to be cool to watch. Really competitive. I'm picking USA, obviously, to top the group. Mexico to top their group. Honduras to top their group. And then Costa Rica to top their group. So, I really don't see any main surprises. Unfortunately for Canada, I think they'll just finish a second. I don't think Canada will be worse than Cuba and get relegated to League B, because they got good players, like Kyle Lauren, they've got Alfonso Davis, Scott Arfield, is that his name, I think. Players, they got pretty good players, and they got a lot of young players coming up within the ranks that hopefully will get a chance in their team, just like I hope the young players get a chance in our team. So that's basically it. I hope you guys, let me take a breath. I talk a lot. I don't think I cut in this video once, but I hope I helped you guys understand what the Nations League really is. I'd love to know your thoughts as to whether or not you think it's going to be a good idea for CONCACAF, or if you think this tournament is just total crap. Let me know down below. Let me know your thoughts on USA Canada. What are you excited most to see about that time? And do you think that rivalry is bigger than Mexico, than USA Mexico? Let me know down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because this week and coming up, guys, I'm going to be posting every single day, because I have a lot of ideas. I got to get them all out, but I had to talk about this one first because it was trending, and I want to be on top of the ball, get the channel around get the channel moving around YouTube. So don't forget to share the video too. Hope your boy drew out. As always, thanks for kicking it with me. I'll see you next time.